cattle mutilation in our area, and
We're in the cattle.
yeah, that's what we do. It's
Yeah.
So we thought instead it might be appropriate to try to maybe begin to pay him back for some of the things that he's done to us now. Actually, I can't think of a better tribute to Gary on this happy occasion than to fill a room like this to the walls with people that want to honor him, thank him, pay some gratitude for all the things that he has done. Still, there are some things that need to be said. Papers arrived from many of those folks, and we've appointed representatives, people who are contemporaries of those folks who couldn't be here, to read some of those letters and share their thoughts with you tonight as well. So that will happen too. So to begin, let me call first on Gordon Medeiros, who will read some letters from some.
2 letters to read from, and the first one is from Mac Rutherford. Dear Gary, so you have reached the big 65. It seems only a short few years ago that I arrived at UCLA and you volunteered to show me the finer points of the game of handball. You were clearly an excellent teacher because I recall beating you regularly about a year later.
This is sort of evenly divided between working in the lab and working in the field. There was quite a large group of students that went in the field, and all of them were convinced Gary was awfully busy in the lab. But he did. So they were out all day. It was a typical Alaskan day. They got back into camp late, had dinner. We're sitting around, and Gary said, well, you going to start the campfire? Roy said, well, it's still light out. Got to have campfire. So I was warned when Gary came to visit me that he told me a story about how I thought the geology in the area had worked. And Gary was pretty happy with that. And I think the campfire made a big difference. And it was about a week later that I decided that geology was wrong. I told Gary the story completely backwards. And he never did accept that changed interpretation. I think the campfire made all the difference. Another important thing in Gary's life was to make sure that people published their work. And one of his more influential students while I was there was Roy Budnick. And Roy sent us a letter. It says, congratulations on your 65th birthday. Sorry that I was not able to be there to be able to join the celebration, but I'm using this time.
Actually, the first thing is the title Professor Bob. Do you remember Bob? As I recall, in fact, that we began calling you Dr. Bob or Professor Bob.
Right.
About the time Colin was there already a couple of years. And in fact, Gary became so enamored of this title that we actually drew a little thing and put it above his door. I think he thought it was some sort of honorary society. Well, actually, according to Colin, if memory serves, I'm reading this, so it's Colin's sentiments. If memory serves me right, you never in your life showed up for beer at McGinty's in Santa Monica, although you always assured us that you would. Now, this certainly deserves the Bob title, which actually means boring old fart. In honor of this title, in honor of this title, Glenn can administer.
Heard somewhere that LA was sort of near the beach, so I decided to apply. And someone else told me that I should make it seem like there was someone at UCLA with whom I really wanted to work. I looked in the catalog and saw your name, read that you were interested in blue schists, and wrote up an essay on why I want to go to UCLA, all about how studying blue schists was the key to understanding plate tectonics in class. See, he learns fast. What I remember most about my first year at UCLA was that you were never there. No, really, what I remember is sitting in your coffee room with a bunch of graduate students explaining to them that I wanted to work on the French side. And quickly changed the subject to, hey, does anyone know when Gary is supposed to be back from Switzerland, Japan, Taiwan, Italy, Germany, pick one? One thing about your
Westridge. Hank writes, it's hard to believe that it's been almost 17 years passed since I came to UCLA on one fine Saturday, September afternoon. I've been at Sandia National Labs ever since leaving UCLA. In continue to work in experimental metrology. And now I'm the manager of the geochemistry department at Zambia.
A fine career captured on film by several generations of grad students. Of course, missing the field trip hurts too, but at least it's not an overnight, so I will not miss any poultry recitals around the campfire. I know you advised and helped many students over the years, but I will always be grateful that I was one of the extended family. I had the opportunity to work not only with you, but also with the cast of thousands of other students and postdocs you assembled. It was a wonderful experience for me, and I look back on my time at UCLA with very fond memories. Enjoy the slideshow and the dinner and the field trip, and say hello to all my academic brothers and sisters. That was Mutton. So a happy birthday and many more of the same to you. Cheers. Darlene, cheers, Department of Geology. I'd just like to say that even though I'm not in geology anymore, that I've learned a lot that I still use. So just problem solving and being able to look at something and just start with and go after it and try to find an answer to something I've taken that I still use today. I just like to
Gary, for all the things he teaches.
I'm going to be really Mr. Cool Cat here. Ready to drink. I'd like to propose a toast to Bill Carlson, who's running a very fine road. Anything really bad. Here, there's another guy.
He was a Stanford graduate too.
What?
Bill was a Stanford.
It's been over 16 years since I started working with you at UCLA in the climates. And if I remember right, you spent the entire summer reading the ingredients in each
That's
package.
right.
I appreciate your patience, guidance, and concern throughout the past 16 years. My career has not always followed the expected paths, but your continued support has been invaluable. Many thanks again, Charles R. Voss II, also known as Chuckles. I'd like to add my own few words. First of all, I have a confession to make, Gary. I never purchased ecologic
Hey, all right. What is this? This is
I did, however, have my roommate copy the entire book. And I figured I owed you the 50 cents royalty.
You don't think I'm not going to take it? I'll
Tell me what.
There's still time. I have a few copies left.
Secondly,
These samples, spelling, grammar, spelled G-R-A-M-M-E-R, as is, of the ones you sent me in the past. Confucius say, your name will be famous in the future. You love sports, horses, and gambling, but not to excess. For they must learn all the ropes first. Now, Gotham has subtracted 5 years from your span, for which you must be grateful, because he concludes, Gary Ernst's 60th birthday will mark the best that is yet to come.
Weren't really around very much. Was any
Is the compliment still coming?
There will be a compliment, and that was that when you were there and there was a problem that we wanted to bring up, and I remember being able to take the most insignificant problem into your office, and you always had the time of day to set down what you were doing and help me out with that, so I really appreciate it. We also have a little gift to give you, and actually,
Not a whistle, is it?
not a noisemaker as far as I know. Diagrams in your papers. Some diagrams first appeared as early as 1976, but they keep cropping up over and over again. we thought you might like to have tectonometamorphism combined with cafe clutching in the form of the very unique tectonometamorphism mug.
You can't see that. It's an eyewitness account of a spreading center right here.
You can't see it, but we all have it.
You've all seen it. You've all seen it on numerous publications. Some of under authorship, but not generally.
Well, actually, you know, I used to refer to it as shingling, but I used the term carpeting today, and I thought it was like
Carpet bombing.
This way, with these mugs, we hope you'll be able to regale people about your latest hot idea, and you won't even have to track down one of your many reprints. Pass a lot.
All of which have the same thing in it.
All
right, I'm going to
That's called
pass it.
shingling. You put the same message in it.
I am aware of the concept. It attempts to communicate. We're all academics, and as such, we want to communicate with one another. How do you do that? Sometimes when you're communicating, a person isn't listening. So, the wise thing is to communicate again. So you have to write virtually the same paper several times.
You might not, but maybe others do. And inquiring minds.
And that is, when I went up to, I came and was very excited about production zones and ideas about what happens in a production zone, and thought, maybe going up to Yukon territory to look at the deep-seated part of the production zone.
It's stupid because I don't really discuss because I work on kinetic problems. And so one thing that Gary did for me that was really great was that he provided me with resources to do what I really wanted to do and didn't really put my hand in trying to steer me towards things that were most interesting to him. And I'm still using a lot of the things that I developed there. A great way to do science.
The plan was about 6 years ago
Oh dear.
with a new Stanford graduate student. And Gary graciously gave us several freeze-dried dinners that we could train ourselves in the background in this area. And it was pretty much all we had. And we got in there, it was a very long hike, and we began to prepare dinner. We opened this thing up, it was terrible. We obviously had rotted several years previously.
Waste not, want not.
I don't remember what year he got them. He revealed it was a long time prior to that year. Anyway, needless to say, I'm a person.
They gave them their first real job.
Okay, there are a few of you. But let me speak to the respect aspect. What is the worst mineral to work on in the entire mineral team? And to make it successful? To Gary Ernst.
I'm a geological Eskimo. See, nobody else wanted to work on things like that. That's why I did it.
Puzzle that we were all about twice younger. It happened 30 years ago. And also I can speak on behalf of one of absent our friend, Nick Dobritsov, who was present this time also. It's, 30 years ago we all met Gary in Japan, not in US, but in Japan. And then we, this continued for a number of years in many, many countries. And a few years ago it continued in Russia.
Curriculum as a chemistry major. And I had very little, if any, geology background. I started out in the laboratory down the hall and found that there were certain things that couldn't be done with the person who was in charge of that laboratory. And Gary, Gary stepped into the breach.
Later on, you find someone name, Louis. Louis. I'm lucky that all you, former students, former postdoc Gary, because now Gary cannot keep me away. So every morning he come to my house. Either call me Louis or Louis. He was not heavy. So this is one thing he changed. The second thing, he gave me very good advice. You know, Gary has written so complete. So from that time on, every time, I know Gary was so busy. So I kept in the paper at night before, and next morning was on my chair. So I learned from him, whenever you want to accomplish something, you have to the most basic person to accomplish. So that Gary gave me excellent advice. Don't give that job to some people who have nothing to do and will never sit on the table for a long, long time. So I have an honor.
Than I have, but I've worked with him as much as just about anyone. And I didn't have anything prepared, but I suppose I should set the record straight on just a few things. We did. Do you have to?
Toast you all for attending this marvelous and unexpected meeting. And I just want to tell you that you've seen the group for the first 30 years. Wait till you see the group for the next 30 years. Watch out, there's more coming down the pipe.